Morning, everyone. I've heard many people start their sermons with, "I would never have believed that I would be here." But that statement doesn't hold true for me today. I knew this day would come, and I am privileged to be here in it at my home church. Caitlin is going to read the scripture for us now.
Entered the ark. They had with him every wild animal according to its kind. All livestock, every bird according to its kind, everything with wings. Pairs of all creatures that have the breath of life in them came to Noah and entered the ark. The animals going in were male and female of every living thing, as God had commanded of Noah. Then the Lord shut him in. May the Lord add a rich blessing to the reading of his word.
Thank you, Caitlin. There is much to be said for silence. The silence of those who have been hurt is often held up as a cruel kind of, "I told you so." But spoken as a whispered, "Why didn't you tell anyone?" To which my consistent answer has been, "But I did." Over the years, I told a number of people parts of what had happened to me. They never betrayed my trust. Neither did they push me to get help. But my journey is here, now, and I've taken charge of my healing. I was molested between the ages of 3 and 5 by 2 grown men, repeatedly. I was sexually assaulted at 11 by an 18-year-old boy. I was belittled, beaten, and raped between the ages of 17 and 19. But I am still here. There are many other stories in between, but this one in particular, there was this man. I learned to trust him as a friend. He was great with young people. I was a teenager. So it shouldn't be a great surprise then that I told him about what had happened to me when I was 11. Initially, I couldn't recall what his reaction was. But a recent flashback brought into crystal clarity what followed. Ever since I told this man about my abuse, everything changed. It was as if a light switch had been flipped off. From that day, he became a fountain of serial sexual harassment. He told me he wanted me, he tried to drug me fast, but each time I managed to untangle myself from his grasp. As a 14-year-old, I was now defending the last drop of dignity in me. The saddest part is that I believed that this was a success story, that I had successfully evaded the advances of this married man. I was quite proud of myself. But my pride was short-lived, because just a few years later, he sexually assaulted my 15-year-old friend. And when it all blew up, she was the one left scarred again. There are few occasions that I can recall when I felt such clarity if an abusive man is not stopped in his tracks, his behavior will continue. And as pathologies tend to go, it will escalate. We need to guard against the premature congratulations of ek het hom lekker vertel, hy sal nie weer uitdraai nie. Or I told him next time I'm going to tell his wife. These offer no guarantee. Abusers need to be stopped in their tracks. Whether this is through a criminal process, a mediated confrontation, a prayer with a priest, the point is that it cannot be prescribed. And it is a deeply personal process for every survivor to consider. We also need to pay closer attention to our tendency to enable rather than confront. In cases of abuse, we as a community often end up treating the abuser with kid gloves. And the victim, survivor, we overtly put to shame with, "That's it's lekker met haar nie." Or, "But she's in all over the place anyway." What we are doing is condemning the survivor of abuse to a life void of value, of human dignity. We are further trampling on a broken spirit, crushing it as we step along to the beat of the devil's drum. Someone asked me, why am I doing all of this, speaking publicly about my abuse? And at the time, I didn't have the most eloquent of answers, and those who know me will know that that bothered me incessantly. So I searched my soul over and over again. Why are you really doing this, Lisa? Why don't you just deal privately and stop being in everyone's faces? The answer came unexpectedly. During this journey, I have often reflected on the story of Job, on how he remained faithful to God through great trial. I've thought about the conversation between God and Satan when Satan gate-crashed the cosmic briefing session between God and the angels. And before long, the great Job challenge was underway. First, it was the donkeys and the oxen. Someone came to tell Job about it. The person said he was the only one who got out alive. Then it was the sheep and the shepherds, all killed. And again, someone came to tell Job what had happened and said he was the sole survivor. And then the camels and goats, and then Job's children. Each time, there was one person who got out alive and came to bring the message. I am that person. I am that person who has gotten out alive. It is a miracle that I am still here. But I am here. I got out alive. I am the person speaking to you that has survived a horrific childhood. I am that messenger. And the messages are painful, but the messages must be heard. This has got to stop. My life has been a painful paradox. The horror of my childhood is also the reason I became a blessing. The more Satan's forces attempted to wrap their evil talons around my life and snuff out the very light in me, the stronger grew the miracle of God's plan to save me. He used my mom. She was the principal earthly executor of the divine plan to save Lisa. You know there's a plan with your name on it too, right? My mom was joined along the way by a few others whose contributions to this plan to save me I describe in a manuscript that I've just completed for a book about the first 12 months of my journey with dealing and healing. But my mom, Dawn Smith, understands faith in its essence. She didn't know what happened to me. She didn't know the end from the beginning. She just believed. She introduced me to the arts in all its forms: music, writing, singing, piano, theater, performance. And she introduced it in such a way that these are the very things that have sustained my connection with God, even at my lowest points. And there were many. And each time, without fail, God showed up. For all the art forms that my mom introduced me to, fine arts has never been a strong point for me. Even though I am strongly visually oriented and inspired, I was always so afraid of the letdown when my hands couldn't recreate what I could see in my head. But my mom is one of the most all-round creative people I know. Paper mache, macrame, drawing with pastels and charcoal, painting with oil-based and water-based paints. She did everything. She even drew an entire mural on our bedroom wall. And she changed it every June holidays. Noah's Ark, the Garden of Eden, the story of Joseph. My brother and I used to watch eagerly as these creations unfolded on the wall. My mom got me to try everything, which I did, and I enjoyed it. But drawing was just not my thing. And I was okay with it. I had piano, I had singing, and I had straight A's. So when I drew this picture a few months ago, I wasn't prepared for how the page screamed at me when I was done. Stick drawings of the buildings in a thick blue koki. Red numbers plotted the places where my abuse had taken place. This childlike, out of alignment, shaky, simple drawing held one of the biggest revelations of my dealing. All my abuse happened in one small area in this city, Cape Town, South Africa. Yet all the seeds for music, writing, and performance were planted in the very same place. If that isn't grace, I don't know what is. It's as if the good was following me all along. And that in the very same place that I was hurt in ways unimaginable, I was also given the keys. I'm still here. The fact that I haven't yet publicly identified my abusers has provided me with such power for this part of my journey. Because I believe that there were many men who would have abused me, but didn't, for whatever reason. So, this is for all men, no exclusions. We need to educate our men, our boys, our young men, our adult men, men in relationships, men in groups, married men, single men. Tell them what this does to a child. I believe that this would have a far greater societal consequence than hankering after the flash-in-the-pan sensation of revealing identities. Because yes, there would possibly be a trial and publicity, but then after that process is concluded, I would be sent on my merry way by society because justice has been done. Justice has not been done. Justice will not be done until I deal with what has happened to me. My healing is my justice. A thought has been developing in my mind over the past weeks. And while many who are living with depression and anxiety are reminded that thoughts are not facts, and that the curtain of depression is a faulty filter through which to view life, I am having to learn to trust the other end of the depression scale, that my first best thought has value, that Lisa has value. I'm having to learn to trust that Lisa is worthy of being listened to, of being heard, of being understood, loved, cared for. I am learning a new level of discernment. Putting my health first is one of the most foreign concepts to me. It's really a great challenge. You see, the verdict for my life has already been concluded. The sentence pronounced: life, without the possibility of parole. For the rest of my days, I will be reminding myself that during the 44 years that I lived as nothing, I was still privileged to be a blessing. The foundation removed in my childhood is being re-established. The image in the mirror is growing stronger. I am on the healing path, and this is where I intend to stay. Healing, growing stronger, forgiving, living. And in this incredibly difficult, trailblazing journey of discovery, clarity of thought grows stronger each day. I'm learning to practice patience, trust, hope, belief. I'm learning to feel love, concern, relief, warmth. I'm learning to balance pain. I'm learning of my worth. I am ready. When I wrote those words, a surge of heaven-sent strength poured through me, and I decided that I would like to speak to the man who molested me. And as is my nature, I gathered all the possible information that I could because I wanted to be sure that I did this right. I was advised to take someone neutral with me. Someone that he didn't know, and someone who didn't know him. Thank you, Thandi, for being that Bogodo. Once Thandi agreed to go with me, everything else just fell into place. I garnered the strength to call this man, and I told him I would like to meet with him. He agreed, and it was sent. Of all the parts of the experience of this face-to-face encounter with the man who molested me, I find myself mostly moved by one. Finally, I have earned the credentials to speak of forgiveness. Because the experience of forgiveness is the one thing that will sustain me into the future. Here's why. In the discussion, I told him that I had chosen to forgive him. And in his response, he ended with, "I'm so glad you've chosen forgiveness. I'm so glad you've reached the point of forgiveness, so that now you can move on from this." I wasn't prepared for what I said next. It just came out. I said to him, "I have made a decision to forgive. And it's a decision I will make every day for the rest of my life. Forgiveness sets me free, not you." To put it mildly, I experienced a complete upset of my fairy tale conception of forgiveness. Our mistake is that we expect forgiveness to be a destination or a Damascus Road experience. We expect it to be an event. A little girl tells her mother, "That man did this to me," And the mother tells the father, parents are livid, and they take the girl with them to go and meet the man. They confront the man, and he cries, and he says he's sorry. And then they turn to the little girl, and they instruct her to forgive the man. Right there is where we have failed so many young girls. She is forced to betray herself and continue with life as if nothing happened. We wipe some hand sanitizer on our hands and move on. The offending man offers an eloquent prayer of reconciliation and then gets into his car and drives off to scout for his next victim on his way to the church board meeting. This is how we keep the evil cycle going. Forgiveness is a choice. And we need to allow those who are dealing with abuse the space and the time to deal. We just need to practice a little bit of patience. The day will come when they will know that they are ready. That day came for me in my office, ironically. When I told my colleague that I had decided to release all the bitterness and anger from me. When I said those words, I felt it. I remind myself of this moment often, whenever I feel a resurgence of past pain. A kind pastor reminded me that forgiveness releases the pain from my life. And that forgiveness and justice are separate matters. Forgiveness heals me. Justice deals with sin. I'm getting stronger. Each low that I come out of renders me that much stronger. And I value the people who listen to me speak. I am so often talking about what I am going through, but there is an ever-growing circle of people who will listen. Talking helps so much. The hole in my heart, while it may still be there, is no longer a magnet for further abuse. I am on the healing path, and that's where I intend to stay. I used to be so proud that I walked away from a teenage relationship. I mean, isn't that the kind of strength we all wish to display? Walking away from a violent, abusive relationship is courageous, right? The thing is, as I walked away and left behind that awful experience, I also walked away from connection with anyone. And throughout the years, I've worked so hard to cover up this lack of connection by pleasing everyone, left, right, and center. I have sacrificed myself and betrayed myself over and over again. It must have been really exhausting for the friends I've had in my life, because they have had to interact with a wounded, gifted, disconnected, performance-driven girl, child, woman with a penchant for the dramatic. But they stayed. They didn't walk away. They had every reason to leave, but they stayed. And for this, I am ever grateful. I have been blessed with the experience of the unwavering support of lifelong friends. And understanding this connection is a new experience for me, and sometimes a little bit scary. So there will still be moments, but my sights are firmly set on the healing path. We're going to be okay. I've always thought that Noah's Ark, or that Noah was safe in the Ark, because he built it according to God's specs. Our soul built it 50 cubits wide and 30 cubits high. That's on Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. I thought, okay, maybe it was the strength of the gopher wood or the soundness of the architecture that made sure that the waters of the flood didn't come into the boat, to the ark. But then I came across a verse sent to me in one of these inspirational text messages. Are you guys also like that? When you see read more, you say, I don't know why that day read more was an instruction that I actually followed. And the text was our scripture reading for today. Genesis 17, verse 13 to 16. And the end part of verse 16 says, the animals going in were male and female of every kind, of every living thing, as God had commanded Noah. And then God shut him in. Don't miss it. Even after Noah had built the ark according to divine specifications, it was God himself who shut him in order to shut out the waters of the flood. Some translations say the Lord God sealed them inside. And for the longest time, I have wrestled with God over this. Why did he shut the door? I was hurt inside the ark by people inside the ark. God shut the door to protect me from the elements outside. But what about the elements inside? And as I opened a swollen eye, looking furtively around me for any sign of further danger, I felt like God had set me up. I felt like he'd allowed the devil to break my very spirit. But like Job, I did not die. I got up, determined to push forward on the healing path. And now I feel the presence of God more strongly in my life than I have ever experienced before. My connection with God is at the most primal level I thought possible. He gives me strength. I am standing up inside the ark, and I'm saying, we have got to stop this. It's time to clean the ark. May God bless us all. Amen.